What's up, guys? It's Ginger Mega here, and I'm back at it again. Today, I wanted to talk about superheroes. More specifically, superheroes in society and how that's portrayed in movies. I planned this as a three-part series, so here's part one. I wanted to talk about the movie that started my idea for this, which is Incredibles. I I was rewatching Incredibles, and I realized as a child it was like just me being, oh wow, cool superheroes, and it just teaches the stuff of, yeah, don't treat people badly because that can come back to you with syndrome. Now, as I rewatched it, I realized that's the topic that small kids see with this. What I saw now is that there is much more to it. You have a very big problem with how superheroes are portrayed in society in this movie alone. You have what made me start this is the very first scene is an interview of Mr. Incredible, Elastigirl, and Frozone. The reason this made me start the series is because it shows how much is not known from the pub, or how much the public doesn't know about these superheroes, these people who are protecting the city, as we see. And to me, that's amazing because that simply shows this is the very beginning. They are probably the first generation of superheroes that is in their world. And they are not regulated by anything. They do their super stuff, they save people from super villains, and they are not regulated whatsoever. But that's also where the problems come in this movie. We see this by the fact, one, like, we know that Mr. Incredible and the other superheroes are loved by their respective city and all the people in it. We see that with the scene of Mr. Incredible and Squeakers. He gets stopped by an old lady and like, hey, could you help me with this, with my kitty up in a tree, while he is actually trying to stop a, car chase. And he does that, and after that it's like, hey, yeah, thank you. The policemen are literally like, hey, thanks for the job, Mr. Incredible. And then he's just like, oh yeah, I kind of need to go somewhere. And they just leave him be. Like, there is no regulation for him specifically, or probably for any of the others in this, scenario, because none of them can regulate them. They are literally superheroes. They could do anything they want. That then continues in, the next few scenes where we see as the bridge explodes and all that stuff happens, what normally would be, you would think, superhero logic in movies, there are no consequences for the superheroes. There are. The whole reason we see Mr. Incredible and the rest go into hiding and become normal people is because of this one incident. We see how before he did save someone who didn't want to be saved, so he got a lawsuit from that. Then he gets a lawsuit from all the people in the train that he stopped because they got hurt. They want someone to come up for it, even though technically he saved them from something worse. Like, you could also nitpick that it was technically his fault, but I also wouldn't say that because he tried to stop a villain, had to chase after Buddy, who flew off with a bomb on him. If he didn't stop the kid with a bomb on his cape, that would probably be a more problematic situation for him. Then he simply, yeah, he gets the lawsuit, and what we see in this like black and white cutscene is that leads to more lawsuits, that leads to basically the abolishment of superheroes, and people don't like them anymore, at least not as much as they did before, seemingly. And that causes every single superhero to go into hiding. But what we also see is that's not the end of it. Throughout the rest of the movie, we see Mr. Incredible and Frozone go undercover and do their superhero thing, even though technically no one, like, they are not allowed to do that. We yet see that Gazerbeam, one of the characters that's not very prevalent in this stuff, but has a very strong plot point by the fact that he is counted as missing, and then appears in the cave and gives Mr. Incredible the password Kronos. But what most people don't realize or miss in this scene is that they did say that Gazerbeam was part of pro, like, or I would say like superhero activism. He wanted to reinstate the superheroes, which then gives me the fact people are kind of still looking for superheroes to come back, which means that in this, like, they are still trying to figure out the laws of how to regulate superheroes. And that leads to us going further to what happens all with Syndrome and stuff. It's literally a kind of a company paying to have a superhero work for them, which is like a step in the correct direction. Just the problem with this was it was not a good company. It was made by Syndrome, who then did not do good stuff. He did take out a lot of superheroes and did that to cause his ego to multiply. And basically, yeah, that's everything that happens in the first movie, but that already gives you a fairly strong insight on what superheroes would do to our society. We would need to figure out how to regulate them, which, as we see by the end of the movie, they can be celebrated by society, but that doesn't mean that they are legal, I guess you could say. And that also continues into the second movie, which is where the first part of actually making, like, it's very lifelike, I would say, in the process of how to integrate superheroes into society, which of course there is no real life explanation for that. But we see in the second movie that the guy Winston Devon literally makes an agency and like a company that is supposed to regulate superheroes, basically making that they belong to a certain kind of brand, and that brand has to take up any of the damages that the superheroes would do, which was the problem with, well, what Mr. Incredible did in the first movie. And that's also why they say, hey, Mr. Incredible, sit back for a moment, we let Elastigirl do it because she does less damage, and they would have to pay less. So that basically means that we can, throughout these two movies, actually see step by step how superheroes are getting integrated into society from a place of unregulated kind of chaos to a point where they are agents, like agency assorted, I would say. And yeah, that's basically all I wanted to say. I found it very interesting, and there are more movies with stuff like this, which I'm gonna talk about. But that's it for today. Like and subscribe because you're not gonna get this from anyone else. Except, like, I'm the only one doing this. And hey, since this is probably coming out on Sunday, I am probably in a few hours gonna go on live on Twitch, so maybe go there and check me out. That's it, and goodbye.